What's happening, everybody out there? I'm Jakejames Lugo, and welcome to the channel. Now, we've been waiting for this for quite a while, but now it's finally time. We're about to dive right back into the world of Super Smash Bros., and this time, everybody's coming to the party. So without further ado, let's just dive right into this review. This is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the next entry of the massive Nintendo crossover series. Much like the marketing for the game conveys, everybody is here. Literally every character that has ever appeared in a Smash Bros. Game has returned for one giant bash amongst the Nintendo All-Stars, but that doesn't mean we don't get a few new faces along the way. New characters from many classic Nintendo and third-party games also show up for the main event, which makes probably the biggest crossover in gaming history. There are very few other games that have ever had a big culmination of characters across many franchises, which would make for an interesting discussion for another time. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has the free-for-all battles, 1v1 clashes, and meaty amount of single-player content you'd expect from good old Sakurai and the team at Nintendo. So if you played a lot of the previous Smash Bros. Games, you're going to feel right at home and wowed by all the new stuff for you to enjoy. But that doesn't mean the game isn't without a number of big flaws to rein in on the action.
Now, it can't be understated just how crazy Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is, especially for Smash Bros. Fans from throughout the years. Literally every single character that's ever appeared in a Smash Bros. Games is finally back here and accounted for, and that's insane because now we finally get to have those dream matches that we've always wanted. Everybody is freaking in this game. Even beyond that, which is even crazier, is that we're going to get even more through the use of DLC. If you don't believe me, go look at my reaction to Persona 5's Joker that just got announced for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's absolutely insane. But besides all that, what I really love about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is all the extra content, including new music tracks, including stages, and other little nods to various different Nintendo games and other third-party games that have appeared on a Nintendo console. I mean, the amount of music we're getting in this game is absolutely ridiculous. Even just for the Castlevania series, we're getting 35 tracks, and there's even more beyond that from my understanding. I mean, think about that for a second. Just for 2 characters, we're getting 35 freaking tracks, and they're not even Nintendo characters. That's like, are you kidding me? Like, how awesome is that? Yes! Hell yes! 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 Now, one major criticism I do have about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and all the characters that we see in this game is that there's no glossary or database to read up on everybody. In case you see a character that you've never seen before that just shows up in a matchup through an assist trophy or anything else, there's no way to go find out about that character a little bit more, very similar to what we had in Super Smash Bros. Melee. Back in that game, we had the trophies that kind of gave us like a rundown and a little background about some of the characters that we see, even though they weren't necessarily playable. Stuff like that I feel like is very helpful to a lot of people that are probably discovering this Smash Bros. Game for the first time and have never played any of the other games or any of these other games that these characters appear in. And stuff like that I feel like does a lot of good stuff for them. As far as I know, I haven't seen anything of that sort in the game, so if you guys see something, put it in the comment section down below. I'm really curious just to see like why Nintendo removed that type of stuff that was in previous Smash Bros. Games. I always thought that was actually kind of cool. And now that we have so many characters that are appearing in this game, both playable and non-playable, I feel like something like that would be very helpful indeed. Maybe we'll get in a patch or something. But regardless of that, however, let's talk about the biggest thing that's important to a Smash Bros. Game, and that's gameplay, which is what everybody has been experiencing at this point.
The standard gameplay in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is exactly what it needs to be. Fast-paced action with a ton of Nintendo and other game characters that's quick and easy to get into, while also being incredibly addictive and fun to boot. Matches can be fast and furious, but also allow for a lot of room to mix things up. This includes changing rule sets and messing around with the layout of the game's incredible amount of stages. Seriously, every single stage from previous Super Smash Bros. Games is gathered here, plus a few new ones to go alongside all the new faces entering the big brawl. Depending on whether you enjoy playing against other players or fighting the CPU, there's still tons of ways for you to tweak and dive right into the gameplay. If you're looking for more single-player content, there's a lot to do with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Classic mode is your standard arcade mode that you can unlock new characters and fight against tough opponents, but if you want things to be extra spicier, you can always take on the various stadium-like events including Century and All-Star Smash. Or if you're really looking to get smacked up a few times, try your hand at Cruel Smash and see how salty you could get when the CPU whoops you real bad super quick. Overall, there's no shortage of new content to get into, which is exactly what everybody was hoping this game would be.
There is absolutely no shortage of things to do when you're playing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate solo. One of the things I really love is the classic mode, which I feel like is very easy to get into, and it's pretty cool that every single fighter has a themed setting to their different types of arcade ladder. For example, if you're playing as Ryu, everything about it is themed to Street Fighter 2, including the music, some of the characters that you fight that have allusions to some of the Street Fighter 2 cast. To me, something like that is pretty freaking awesome. But on the flip side of that, it's not the same thing for some of the other characters. You get different themes. For example, playing as Link, you get to fight a lot of different characters and even Zelda characters that are from various different Legend of Zelda games, with a final boss battle against Ganon, which I think is just a cool surprise. And speaking of boss battles, I have to commend Nintendo for actually having some really cool boss battles in this game. I really love seeing the Rathalos, Ganon, the Crazy Hand and the Master Hand, even Giga Bowser to an extent, and some of the surprise ones you could run into. I think these are very fun to play, and they're not too difficult, they're not too crazy, but they just look phenomenal, and they just come out of nowhere at times. And I feel like it's just, again, if you're a fan of any of these characters, you're really going to love some of the real deep cuts and nods that Nintendo has put into here. Playing through the arcade classic mode allows you to unlock new characters every single time that you finish it. You'll be able to get a challenger approaches screen, which is pretty cool. They are kind of random, and there is a set path that you could follow that you could probably find online, but one of the things I do have to criticize this mode about is the harsh difficulty spikes that happens at the end when you run into a new challenger. I would be playing on the really low difficulty setting just to kind of run through classic mode and trying to get all the characters, and all of a sudden when I finish it, there's this huge spike in the difficulty which feels like it's going from 2.0 all the way up to 9 for absolutely no reason and absolutely no warning. To me, if I'm just trying to run through classic mode and I'm just trying to get all the characters, I don't need the challenge if I don't want to take on that challenge. I wish that the difficulty kind of spike wasn't really there, but I understand that this doesn't bother a lot of people out there. However, if you're done with classic mode or if you just don't want to dive into it, there is a whole bunch of other modes, including the Cruel Smash, Century Smash, All-Star Smash, and all these different variations of stuff that you could play with all the different types of characters that you unlock. Some of the rewards aren't all that satisfying, and you do get a couple rewards, especially for your customizable Mii fighter. That's always cool. But again, I wish that there was some more special stuff that really rewarded players from diving into something like the Cruel Smash or the Century Smash. I feel like there needs to be better rewards there. But now let's talk about the big thing I'm pretty sure all you guys have been waiting for to hear me talk about, and that's the World of Light mode, which is the main adventure mode or the story of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
The main campaign in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is an adventure mode called the World of Light. Think of it as a main story mode of the game, but with some gimmicks and other twists thrown into the mix. The plot starts off with Kirby being the last survivor of a major attack that has decimated many of the heroes in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. An army of Master and Crazy Hands are led by a mysterious evil force that is super powerful and threatens to engulf the whole world. When the dust settles, it's up to Kirby to fight his way through a harsh world of light and awaken all of the Nintendo characters to fight against the powerful force before things are lost forever. If you've ever played the Subspace Emissary from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, then you'll have a small idea of what this is like. However, this is where a lot of things can go wrong with the game, especially if you were hoping for something on a grand scale. There is a large world to explore and many fights to get into, with some secrets and treasures to discover as you play. World of Light is a very long and convoluted mode that suffers from being way too long and bogged down by the new Spirit system. Spirits are characters that appear as different fighters with abilities that change up the flow of matches. These aren't necessarily playable fighters, but they're characters that would show up and make cameos from now and then. Their abilities can literally range from anything from the mundane to the incredibly cheap. Defeating spirits allows you to recruit them to your team and use them in other fights. The problem here is that they become a huge chore to micromanage and gather spirits to get past some real tough fights, especially ones with the CPU fighters that are made to decimate you without warning. There are many difficulty spikes littered throughout the entire mode, and they're rampant enough to bring down the whole momentum in an otherwise interesting mode that could have been really great. If you're able to get past how tedious it is to deal with the spirits, then you'll find a very long story mode to play that will take you away from some of the other game modes. Is completing World of Light as rewarding as previous Smash Bros. Games, however? Honestly, not entirely. There are some cutscenes at the very start, but you're not going to get anything more beyond that. This isn't like the Subspace Emissary where you got a unique and interesting cutscene with characters interacting with each other every fight or so. World of Light is a lot more bland than that, and that's a real shame.
Now, I'm not saying that the World of Light mode is terrible by any stretch of the imagination. I think that there's some people out there that are really going to enjoy it. However, for someone like me, I found that everything was just way too dragged out, way too convoluted, way too complicated for almost no reason, and there is incredibly harsh difficulty spikes littered throughout the entirety of World of Light. There'll be moments where I just run into a random spirit thinking that I'm going to be able to take it on, and all of a sudden, because of like a couple little kind of tidbits here and there involving the spirits, things just go completely out of whack and I'll get decimated in the matchup. In addition to that, sometimes you're going to need specific spirits in order to take on certain fights, which I can understand the logic behind that, but at times it just feels way too tedious than what it actually needs to be. The other thing too that I think a lot of people have already commented on, so I'll kind of reinforce it here, there isn't a lot of cutscenes which we usually get right at the very beginning of the mode. I feel like those are awesome and people were really playing this just to get more of those. It's kind of like in the Subspace Emissary that was in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, where almost nearly every other couple fights or nearly every fight, you got a different cutscene that showed some of these characters interacting with each other, and a lot of people have really been playing this type of game just for that. Why there wasn't more of these cutscenes in the game is anybody's guess. Maybe it's just, again, time constraints or anything else of the sort, or maybe they just focused too much on the spirits gimmick. But still, I feel like not only I was a little disappointed and cheated out of it, but also I feel like a lot of other people were really expecting that when World of Light was first announced. Again, Nintendo kind of presented it that way, and I think we all had certain expectations for what this mode was going to be. But as it is now, I feel like that the mode is very long. Again, I'm already about 20 or so hours into World of Light, and there's even more beyond that. I haven't even completed the entirety of the map. You guys only just saw a small portion of what I've actually done. There's so much more to deal with it, but it's going to take me a long time to complete that. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same thing for a lot of you out there. Is it really worth diving into World of Light and completing everything that it has to offer? Maybe yes, maybe no. It really depends on the player that you are. If you just want to dive into this mode hoping to get all the characters kind of quickly, or if you were hoping for something a little bit better involving cutscenes and story and stuff, you're going to be very disappointed by World of Light. At the same time, if you were hoping that this was going to be a breeze, then I'm telling you right now, you're in for a very rude awakening. Something that I feel like not a lot of people who have reviewed this game really have talked about. Again, I just find that the difficulty spikes are just way too out of balance and way too inconsistent, and they're all over the place. That could be due to me actually getting certain spirits or not having certain spirits, but again, everybody's going to be different with their games, so that's just my experience and that's just where I stand with it. So now let's talk about something major with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it's pretty major for the entirety of the series, and that's online and offline multiplayer.
Multiplayer is the cornerstone of Super Smash Bros. If you're playing this game, you're also playing many hours of local and online multiplayer. But to my surprise, and I'm sure to yours as well, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate has some major problems with its multiplayer modes. Playing with one Nintendo Switch locally against friends is incredibly fun, as it should, but when you get into local wireless and online multiplayer is where things really start to fall flat. I got into a bunch of sessions with a few friends who also had Nintendo Switch consoles with Smash Ultimate, and we ran into many instances where the wireless gameplay would start to get choppy. Now, normally this would probably be because of the location we were in, but then I tried it a bunch more times in various locations and with various different people, and I had the same issues. While I'm not sure the main cause of this, it was noticeably so frequent that I couldn't ignore it. And then we have the biggest disappointment of all, the online multiplayer modes. Once again, Nintendo runs into problems with having stable, consistent online multiplayer matches, both with online lobbies and matchmaking. I played a ton of matches online since I got the game, and more than 70% of the matches were either super laggy or completely unplayable. Mind you, that's not counting the many times that me and many other people were suddenly booted back to the main menu from communication issues online. Seriously, why are more people not talking about this in reviews is astounding to me, because it's such a huge problem. But my criticisms of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Online go beyond connection issues. The lobbies you can make and options for online matchmaking are not that great. Where are the region options or other filters to help me find better matches? There are some selections included, but they feel incredibly meager and hardly look like they're influencing anything. More importantly, however, I'm amazed that Nintendo hasn't taken more example from other fighting games like Street Fighter, Tekken, or Soul Calibur in order to make the lobbies easier to get into and out of, especially when it comes to inviting friends to join. Having to deal with friend codes and passwords seems incredibly silly when it'd just be so much easier to just invite someone off of my friends list into a lobby that I can make. Part of that is more due to Nintendo's online for the Switch, but I still feel this could have been better addressed in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
As someone who has played a ton of Super Smash Bros. Online and offline multiplayer, I can tell you guys definitively that my experience with it is really all over the place. Offline, I've played on both my Nintendo Switch console with multiple people, and I played local wireless, and I feel like those work pretty good for what they are. Just on one console, it works nearly flawless, but even with local wireless, there are a few hiccups here and there that I feel like not many people are really talking about. But having played it in multiple locations and with different individuals, I can see that there are pretty big problems there that need to be addressed. But really the biggest issues come from the online multiplayer. I feel like that's the thing that really needs the most work that Nintendo needs to focus on. This could be due with the Nintendo Switch Online capabilities. It could be any number of factors out there, including my own internet connection and other people's internet connection, but I still feel like there's other things that Nintendo could have focused on, or at least brought in from other fighting games that would have bettered the experience overall. Where are the options in the online lobbies and in matchmaking for region selection? Why can't I just match up for specific people or specific areas that are close to my region? In addition to that, why can't you display the actual online connectivity or just the quality of the connections to the players that I'm matching up with? This is standard stuff in other fighting games like Street Fighter, Tekken, and Soul Calibur, and many others that are out there, but Nintendo has continuously neglected stuff like that. Again, it could be any number of reasons why that might be the case, but right now, around the time of launch, Nintendo Switch Online with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is not all that great. There's even been reports online, including moments with myself that I've experienced, where people have been booted out of matches just for whatever communication error, and their connections are totally fine, as well as also the consoles that they're playing on are totally fine. It just seems like these are the same type of issues that we've seen in other previous Smash Bros. Games that have just kind of lingered for a long time, and Nintendo hasn't really fully addressed them yet. Hopefully over time we get some more patches and updates that kind of better the online experience overall, but around the time of launch for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it is really all over the place, so play at your own risk. Hopefully you guys get some good matches. Hopefully I get some good matches next time I go online, but for the most part, the majority of matches I've played have been really kind of bad. So overall, do I really enjoy Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch? Without question, yeah, I still think it's a great game that you guys should definitely pick up for your console. It's a must-own within the Nintendo Switch's library. Is it perfect, however? I don't think so. I don't think it's a 9.5 or a 10 like a lot of other people have been saying. There are problems there that I feel like many people aren't really talking about in greater detail. However, that being said, that doesn't take away from all the value and all the great stuff that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate really offers players. There's so many characters included on the roster here, there's so many different playstyles, there's a lot of Nintendo love and gaming history that's really injected into this that anybody out there is really going to enjoy. The online multiplayer might have some hiccups here and there, but the offline multiplayer is still fun as heck like any other Smash Bros. Game that's come out, only this one has the best roster and some of the best inclusions within the entire franchise's history. If you're really looking for a fun time, something quick to get into, and something really enjoyable to kind of share with your friends, you can't go wrong with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It is quite simply, probably, arguably, one of the best games out there on the Nintendo platforms. And there you go, guys. Those are my overall thoughts on Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Again, I'm really happy that we finally got to play the game after so long for waiting it. I'm going to be online a lot more often, playing the game with some of you guys. Hopefully, we get some good matches, and hopefully the matches aren't terrible and laggy and stuff. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video review overall. Leave me a comment down below in the comment section and tell me what your guys' favorite character to use in Super Smash Bros. Or just some of your own experiences playing the game. Curious to see where you guys stand with this. And like always, don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel for all my videos just like this one. I have a lot of content on here that I know you guys are definitely going to enjoy. I also want to give a big shout out to Jasmine Russell for supporting me at the Beast tier level on my Patreon page. You're getting shout outs for the entire month on every single video. Thank you for your support. If you guys want that same type of love, check the links in the description box that go directly to my Patreon page. There's a bunch of tier levels with a whole bunch of cool stuff that you guys should definitely check out. Anyway, guys, I will talk to all of you again very soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.